Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Downing, and today I just wanted to show you a very special revamp project that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. Some of you may recognize what we're looking at here as the N64, as I once called it, or the single game Nintendo 64, that used to house the Ocarina of Time and was a single game system just because I loved it so much. Well, back in the end of 2016, I sold it off, and it bounced from owner to owner for the past few years now, and the latest owner to buy it off of eBay contacted me and said, hey, would you be able to put an EverDrive in this system if I send it to you? I said sure, but it turned out to be a little bit more of an in-depth project than what I was expecting, because obviously this system was designed for one game, and the EverDrive is designed for every game. So there are a few hurdles that we had to hop over in order to get this to work right. Alright, so the first issue that I had learned from doing other portables in the past was that the EverDrive utilizes the reset button in the system for save states. I'd never used one before, so I didn't know that, and now all my future models and models I've done recently have a reset button in them, but this one did not. So the first thing I had to do was incorporate the reset button, which is now right here, this one right here, for just simply resetting the system as it normally would. The screen that I used in this also was a cheaper eBay backup screen, and it did not have a software on-off. And one of the features that the buyer requested was to have an audio-video output, and it's much easier to have the screen turn off when you're playing on your TV. So this is just a screen kill switch, just cuts the power to the screen entirely. So that was also added. And this port right here is the audio jack. So if you wanted to plug in your headphones, you can still do that. And this was done before I had the custom amplifier that had an automatic kill switch in it. So this kills audio to the speakers, which is still useful if you're plugging into the TV. But again, a lot of extra switches on here that wouldn't normally be on in these later versions. He also requested that I replace the thumbstick with a GameCube, more Nintendo authentic. Makes sense. There was a PS3 one in there before, but that is now gone, and it works very well. And up here, I added a USB 3.0 receptacle, because I needed to make a breakout box that would take the audio-video to the TV, but as I also found out too with the EverDrive shortly after booting it up and giving it a test, you cannot navigate the menu with the control stick. You have to use the D-pad. And guess what's not on this system? Again, designed for one game, Ocarina of Time did not use a D-pad whatsoever, so it was not implemented to begin with. So to get around that hurdle, rather than do any sort of extensive casework and put in the D-pad, we just included with the breakout box a Player One remote control, or controller, that just takes a standard controller. But because there's a built-in controller and an external controller having to go to Player One, I had to also put in a on-off switch for the controller, which basically just takes the data line and cuts it to one system or the other. And this works perfectly well on the fly, so you do have to use the controller and the breakout box to start up with. And once you navigate the menu though, and if it's a game that doesn't use the D-pad, then you can just unplug the entire breakout box altogether, or just hit the switch on the side. The other improvement I did was I also put in an expansion pack, because again, Zelda didn't require it. I also had to wire up the L button, because again, Zelda didn't use it, and I had 3 Z buttons on this thing and 1 R. And then to kind of spruce things up a bit, I printed up some of the decals that were missing on here with my SLA printer, and instead of using these old crappy Ocarina 3D prints I originally had, I used the Form 2, and now this actually has some texture and some curvature, everything that's nice to feel, and just kind of spruced up the aesthetics a little bit. But, you know, that's it. I'll power it on here real quick after I plug in the breakout box and the controller, and just show you it working. Alright, so I got the controller plugged in to the breakout box via the USB 3. I don't have the AV hooked up, obviously, but just uses a standard 3-prong RCA output. No high def or anything like that, obviously, but still can play it on your TV if you wanted to. So we just flip on the switch. It boots into the initial menu, and as you can tell, nothing's going to work here. Oh, and I actually have the controller set up and switch in place. The resolution on this is not all that great, unfortunately, because it's just a 4:3 screen. I'm trying to use this instead of this. Alright, but he's got a plethora of games on here. Can't go wrong with this. Alright, so once it's initialized, Mario starts up. You hit the side switch here, click it down, unplug, and we are good to go. So yeah, that's where we're at with this, and appreciate the buyer. He's been very patient as I kept on throwing one thing after the other that I had to do in order to make this work the way he wanted. But you know, it's a retrofit, so to speak, and how it came out now, it went pretty smooth. I want to thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next project. Bye.